Okay, so my name is Amanda. This next year I'll be a senior, and my majors are business administration, HR, and Spanish. My campus involvement is that I've been RHA president for the last 2 years. I'm in Delta Sigma Pi, and I've been on the executive board. I'm in NRHH, and I've been the accounts director. I'm a financial aid worker, and I currently work in the call center. So I'm interested in running for president. I'm interested in running for president because I've been elected into this position for the last 2 years. I feel like this position has given me the opportunity to strive as an individual, be a better leader, and work in a great group dynamic. I have made many changes in the last 2 years to the RHA program, and I feel like I have a lot to offer within this position. I have really enjoyed my experience in housing and especially in RHA, and I feel like I have helped many residents become better individuals and better leaders as well. I also want to continue the great leadership experience and I have had because of my last 2 years as being president. I have learned so much because each year has been so different and it has been a great experience overall. RHA has taught me so much, and I would love the opportunity to learn more from being the executive president for another year. So why I enjoy living on campus. I've enjoyed living on campus because I've always thought since day one it provides the best community style for those in the residence hall. Living on campus provides the home away from home for everyone, and it provides the opportunity for others to meet other people so it isn't so intimidating to be away from home. I also think living on campus is so much easier than living off campus because it is cheaper, because it provides that one-time payment instead of having to save up money to pay for rent, electricity, and Wi-Fi. And there's so many more resources a person on campus has compared to others. I have lived on campus now for all 4 years of attending college and will never regret it. So like I said, some leadership and work experience I have had. I've been RHA president for the last 2 years. I've been on hall council member in Lords my freshman year as secretary and president. I'm a DSP member since freshman year and have held multiple leadership positions like president, chapter operations, and fundraising. I recently joined NRHH and was the accounts director this last year. I'm a financial aid student worker and work in the call center. Some strengths I believe I have is an achiever. I'm very consistent, dependable, responsible, caring, organized, and overall passionate. I really do care about the things or organizations I am a part of, and will make sure that they are successful as well as the people and the organizations are successful as well. So for ideas for both RHA and for the president position, I talked about this a little bit last year, but I wanted to form committees right from the start so that it would be like position committees. So starting with president, vice president, secretary, and treasurers, and then halfway through the semester, switching it up so that people get to know other people. And I wanted to start this off right away from the first meeting so that going into the fall training, they would get to know their positions and be able to use that resource of having the positions to use throughout the semester. I also wanted to change GA in a way. I still want to keep it very professional for the first 20-30 minutes and using the agenda, but I also really liked how Kirkland Hockey used a PowerPoint to express how their ideas that they had. So I wanted to do that for each person, especially because each executive board does have something different very much to say. And then also switching it up the last 20-30 minutes, doing the committee meeting, a learning presentation, which could be a resume workshop, an interview, ideas, and also how to build an agenda, use a PO, or other things. And then also do a social, so that could be something like game night, movie night, or coloring. Something very simple, but also cost effective where it's not too much. I think this will bring more purpose and more productive as a group. Finally, now our executive board positions are more established, I want the exec board members to help encourage member involvement throughout the halls, to create hall competitions for each month, to be more passive programs or based on pop tabs or something else. And I use pop tabs as the example, but it's something that I thought we could use as a passive program that we can relate to recently was the Relay for Life, and how we used the containers in each hall and having them donate and making that more of a competition to obviously knowing that that money goes to a good cause. So my ideas for the president position, I think is really important. And I learned this from the conferences that I've attended to help the advisor. A lot of presidents do have bi-weekly one-on-ones, just like the advisor does with the executive board members. And I think that's really important because it helps the exec board members know that you're there also as a resource, and you can always check in on them, knowing that we all do have classes and we can relate to that more. And just other position description things that they have that you can check in on. I also wanted to change constitutions for each hall. I think my goal this last year was to make it more transparent between the exec board and hall council members. And I think making sure that all the halls are on the same page with their constitutions, being that each president does the same thing, each vice president does the same thing, each secretary does the same thing, each treasurer, so on. Each does the same thing. I really wanted to work on the constitutions and have them ready by the first meeting, or even the meeting depending on how we're doing the training with the hall director, AD, or whoever's helping hall councils, to make sure that they're on the same page as well. And that's all I had.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amanda. So now we're going to be moving to the question answer period. So I'm going to open it up to executive board for any questions that you have.
So my question for you, Amanda, is with the last point about working with the constitutions and making each hall understand the same thing, will you be communicating with the hall directors also about that? Because and with it over the summer, are we going to have this possibly available before they even get elected so they know what they're possibly getting into? Or is it something that would be here's at our first meeting, like you said?
Yeah, I think, I would like to work, or whoever gets this position, I think it would be best to start with Mel and working with our advisor to start with. And then obviously knowing, hopefully, I don't know what our plans are coming early, the RAs do with training, and knowing that we can reach out to the hall directors then and be okay, this is our plan. Can you help us with this? And even being able to do a 10-15 minute presentation throughout training week, and being okay, here's our ideas for hall council. We want them to be on the same page. Also knowing that all the RAs are going to be there so they can help us too, and make sure that they're on the same page as well, I think is very important. And even just over the summer, if I can have or whoever gets this position have that structured idea of how they want to change the constitution, and then bring it forward almost a voting process type thing, or even open it for ideas for RAs, hall directors, ADs, whatever, at training. And then also have it be something that is ready come day one, if that's before the training with hall directors, ADs, RAs, whatever. With the hall council members, we did the hall director social type thing. If that's before our first GA meeting, we can present it then. Or if it's our first GA meetings before then, I would like to have it then. Whenever we meet with the hall council members is when I would want it done.
I have a question. So what's one thing that you learned this year that you'll use in next year for this role?
I think motivation. I think just being able to motivate others, knowing that we are all different people, and we've all different have different priorities and different ideas of what hall council is, and some people are more passionate over others. Is kind of hard to be you need to do this or be motivated about this. But being able to motivate people to their strengths is something that I think I kind of learned, in a sense, that I think I want to keep going into next year, because I think that really helps. But also it is hard to know from day one so-and-so is really good at this, how can I motivate them to do that? So it is definitely a learning experience. And I think, I don't know, just hopefully learning from day one, or having more interactions with the exec board and even hall council members would be good to motivate them, and learning them and understanding what's good and what's not to help them improve.
Thank you.
I guess my question would be, so you mentioned before that you've been around for some, some interesting changes that have been through the RHA, that you've even championed a couple of them. Are there any of them that you want to highlight in particular, as a sort of, this is the kind of change that you're capable of doing, or that you something that like encapsulates perhaps your ability to be flexible as a leader and to adapt to whatever challenges that come your way?
That's a good question. I think some changes that I like personally made would be like the print agendas, and I think like just knowing that like that's kind of like my position. I think it's even something that I want to change even for next year too. Like I definitely want to keep print agendas at GA, even go to like paper agendas for exec board. Just knowing that it's like more simple and you can keep it even more professional too. And I also want to do like agendas for dining services, just because I think it'll be easier for the professional staff and for us to be on the same page, and as well as like having them keep like them all be able to like write down something or like write down the comments and like whatever. I think I am very flexible when it comes to different ideas and change, that like I hope whoever is on this exec board, if they do decide not to do print agendas, it isn't going to be something that will offend me or like whatever. I think just even like I am good with like adjusting the group dynamic too. So I think that's something that's like really important to know. And yeah, I hope that, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions from the gallery?
So you're involved in a lot of things and working with you in the past. Coming up on your senior year, do you see anything changing? Like, are you going to have an internship or anything that could possibly be added on as well?
Yeah, and I actually like this was kind of my biggest concern about reapplying, and I've like talked to Mel multiple times about this, just because I was kind of considering doing an internship, but knowing that like this semester has been such a change, I was not going to be looking for an internship in Winona that would now lead to a job in the fall and spring next year. So I'm actually like in the process of, I've applied for internships here and I'm waiting for interviews here. So like I won't be obviously holding a job in the fall and spring in like Milwaukee. So knowing that like I won't be adding more to my plate, and also like DSP, I don't want to hold a position in DSP, but I still want to keep my position in NRHH. But I do know like we meet bi-weekly as a like a chapter, and like our position we meet like bi-weekly as an exec board, so it's not too time consuming. And then I don't know if I'll be returning to the call center for sure or not, but that was only like once or twice a week, and it was like nights, so it wasn't like too demanding either. And for financial aid we can only work 10 hours a week, so it's not like too much, but yet I mean I really do like being busy, so it's not something that's like overwhelming. I know it does probably sound overwhelming, but I like my schedule. So
Okay, thank you so much for the interview.
thank you.
Yeah.